In 2016, I brought a thumb-sized succulent home from a work event. I forgot to water it and then kind of sort of watered it, and it grew to be 4 times larger over the course of a couple of years. And in those years, I accidentally created a wild jungle of tomato plants, lettuce, strawberries, herbs, tall sunflowers are blocking all the view beyond my apartment balcony, and God knows what else. I had to get rid of a lot of it when animals started to come. I thought about my ridiculous jungle garden a couple of weeks ago and how I loved how I was able to transform a space and offer privacy and natural beauty with this design. This only made me want to pick up the phone and call my good friend from my years of studying architecture. So, hey, hello and welcome to my podcast, Jazzed About Nature. Today I'm here with my friend Tamra Aslan. She works in the field of architecture by trade, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about design and sustainability and how we can kind of use those concepts right now. So, Tammy, I actually asked you a question before about this concept called biomimicry, and I kind of wanted to jump right into that and have you explain what that is.
So there's actually two real buzzwords, is biomimicry and biophilia. So biomimicry is more about looking at concepts in nature and engineering architectural or simple designing things into our everyday life. And then biophilia is about more of a connection with nature, so bringing plants indoors or even designing spaces that feel more like nature or interaction with nature.
Awesome. So the simple concept of just having houseplants inside of your home right now and having plants outside and bringing people outside into that space, that kind of fits into what you're talking about. And it's funny because I already started doing that even without thinking about that concept. I started a tiny little garden where I'm planting foods that I know that I use all the time. So I have tomatoes out there, I have some peas, I have some lettuce, easy to grow stuff. And I'm simultaneously, I started it on purpose because I have this huge window space where people can kind of see up into my apartment, and I wanted to block that off. So I kind of wanted to use my tiny little bit of background in architecture before I dropped out 10 years ago from school and started
landscape architecture.
Yeah, it's more landscape architecture, but it's still utilizing sustainable resources to sort of create an indoor-outdoor space that draws me outside into that space during this time when I don't have access to the outdoors. We're inside, we're staying home, and that's like my own little sanctuary that I've designed, using biophilia or biomimicry. So I don't know.
The other thing we wanted to mention really quick is with biomimicry, there's a lot of things just to keep in mind that are being implemented into our design environments that we might not be aware of. One is considering, they actually looked at sharks' skin and different animals that don't have barnacles or anything growing on them in the ocean, and why doesn't that grow on them? And they realized it was the skin texture and the way that was made. So they started implementing those kind of textures onto, medical surfaces, for example. When you go into the doctor and there's those big tables that you sit on, a lot of it is actually already built with this surface pattern that you wouldn't really notice, but it's because it's not smooth, certain particles can't grow on it, and bacteria.
It's really cool. And especially right now when we're studying this, COVID-19 virus and how long it lasts on different surfaces, I did notice that it's wildly different between, different surfaces. I think wood was one of the longer ones also, because you know, it's an organic surface, and yeah, there's grooves, and it's not as easily to clean as, you know, something that mimics, you know, something that doesn't have barnacles on it. And that's pretty interesting moving forward to kind of implement into, or when you're thinking about materials for your own home, or you're talking about designing offices or specifically hospitals now, like that, you know, makes the most sense. So it's pretty interesting, and I'm glad that you brought that up. Going forward too, like if you're not really sure about certain services in your home, or just, you know, just being conscious and aware of that going out, bring your wipes, you know, or your cleaning products, and have hand sanitizer, because, you know, certain things are going to last, you know, longer on others. But to be safe about it, just clean everything.
The other thing is asknature.org is a really good resource.
Okay.
And so there's basically just a search bar on the homepage, and you can ask any question, and then it will bring up information that relates to nature.
I didn't even know that.
It's a really cool website, and something really fun to explore, you know, learn, especially.
Yeah, and you'd think that I would have already figured that out with this podcast, but this is the reason why I call people like you, so I can get little tidbits and advice. So, but I know that you're also a plant person too. Do you have a couple plants in your own home right now that you're taking care of?
We have all sorts of. I just got an orchid too, so I'm really happy. Like, that's really more vibrant in our home. And then we have an outdoor space that we share with the front neighbors. So space has, they let us, like, we have 2 planter boxes there, and one is dedicated to us. And originally we were planting a bunch of different vegetables there and having a lot of fun. And then we planted some mint and basil, and at this moment the mint has won out and is very much enjoying that space with the rain.
Yeah, it has rained a little bit. It's still kind of cool out, but it's also spring, so this is the perfect time to just grab some seeds when, you know, you're not in line for toilet paper, and start planting things at home and being, you know, more sustainable that way. Like herbs, they're like super easy to like start. Like they used to have this joke at my old job where if you put a plant too close to me, my aura would just kill it. So, I was never a green thumb. I don't know why, but I think mostly because it was the wrong plants being placed indoors. Now that I have things switched up, things are growing, things are, you know, working. So
I found a while back, there's different plants that, you know, grow better indoors or outdoors, of course, but there's also different plants that are better in different environments in your home. And, like, for example, there's one that's better in bathrooms because it helps clean the kind of bacteria that happens in bathrooms more than another plant that would be in there. And there's plants that are good in offices or where there's like a lot of printing material that has a lot of paper, and certain plants clean different air particles differently. And something I wasn't really aware of before, and there's a whole slew of research out there about that.
Yeah. No, it's pretty interesting just to like dive into that for yourself. And when you're at home right now, think about some of the rooms that you want to brighten up or do things with. Maybe you have asthma, maybe you know, have a lot of pet dander or whatever. You need something to sort of, you know, combat that or eliminate certain things. And just plants in general, they breathe out oxygen. They're recycling the air for you. So it's good that, you know, you have some indoor plants and that you're thinking about the future, you know, with your outdoor plants, you know, veggies, fruits, herbs, anything. Like, you can have like a bunch of fresh things going on out there, and you can use that for design, which is super interesting. I guess one of the main questions that I kind of wanted to ask you was, I guess, what your favorite plant is, and what are some tips that you have to start a mini garden in a small space?
Well, I really like aloe vera. We have a little small plant for that because, especially in the kitchen when you accidentally burn yourself or yourself, that's like a natural healer.
So for starting a garden, what have you learned? What?
That's hard to kill.
Yeah.
It wants to grow.
Pick the plants that's hard to kill. You know what? I actually have a tomato plant from 2016 that will not die. It just, every once in a blue moon, it'll give me a tiny tomato whenever it feels like it, and it's been going. It's 4 years strong, and I've forgotten to water it. It's moved from several different apartments. Like it's going. I don't know why it's still here, but tomatoes are good. So, or maybe just the tomatoes I got.
I also work in affordable housing, and we had one of the projects. People were living there, and the vegetable garden that they had, there was a community root garden, wasn't getting as much attention. And so we had a whole event where we brought all of the community living there together on the weekend, and there was some really great, there's really great groups out there that are willing to donate plants for that as well. So we got all of these seeds and plants, like little baby tomato plants, all given to us for free and donated, and we were able to have this wonderful event, and everyone came out, and years later people are still enjoying those vegetables and taking care of it.
That's awesome. And that's something that we should, keep in mind right now. It's not just about right now. This is something that we can carry, with us moving forward. You don't have to throw away your garden after quarantine's lifted. You can continue to provide for yourself and create a beautiful space at home. So, anywho, on that note, I wanted to thank you again for agreeing to chat with me. It was fun. Thanks again for calling in. It was great convo.
Nice. Well, have a fun day, fun weekend, and
yeah, you too. All right, thanks.
bye.
Bye.